That's right, y'all. That's right, y'all. That's right, y'all. Swag City Radio, Station Where Artists Go Global, right here live in the mix. It's going down, man. It's a wonderful day. Feels like almost like a holiday sometimes. I don't know if I would say a holiday, but today was crazy. I mean, yeah, the Clippers being sold. You have, just racism in America, something that, I guess these white people aren't used to. You just have, people going crazy. Call it what you want. Call it what you do. Anyways, today's special guest, man, I'm looking forward to this. And I always talk about it. Let me turn that down just a little bit. I always talk about it. It's, we deal with this crisis in America is we deal with 1%, like when it comes to black authors, and we've changed up the format here at Swag City Radio, and you have 1% of the black population when it comes to writing. We've strayed so far from, writing, get back to it. I still read, believe it or not. Reading to me is kind of like, I think it's necessary. Like, I make my kids read an hour a day. I try to focus on, my son, he does 200 words every day. He has to know the next grade up level words, so that way it makes his reading easier and his pronunciation. And, and I encourage parents to do the same, get them in front of BET and YouTube twerking videos, you know what I mean? And get them on that page of fundamentally sound education, because there's nothing worse than being ignorant, just out there and about being ignorant and not have nothing to say other than, you know what I'm saying? Every other word, you know what I'm saying? But that's right, y'all. We right here live, Swag City Radio, Station Where Artists Go Global. This is your host, Dee Williams. Hello. And coming to the show right now, he just called in. We were having a little technical difficulties, but we're right here. I want to introduce the world, not just locally, but the world, to author Marc Brisett. What's going on, my brother?
How you doing, sir?
Oh, man, you tell it, man. What's going on, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you perfect.
It's like a little echo, though, on my part.
Oh, that might be on your end.
Okay.
Is there
my cheap phone?
You said what? Your cheap phone?
Yeah.
we gonna need you to step it up, man. Step it up. If you want to, you can recall back on like a house line if you have that, and on a landline, and I'm pretty sure we'll eliminate that problem.
All right, let me try that.
All right. So we got Marc Brisett. Brisett. I don't know if is it Brisett? Okay. Okay, we got Marc Brisett. We're gonna change lines, and he's gonna come right back with us, and we're gonna get right back into, this. I think he's an inspiring author, so we're gonna definitely get back into that. But right here, live, Swag City Radio, Station Where Artists Go Global. We're gonna get you into the mix a little bit. We're gonna play. I'm trying to think. What am I into? Matter of fact, I love this interpretation of this song, and we're gonna make it a little jazzy. Let's go. cut that short. You'll cut that short, man. Even though that's one of my favorite songs, and that one's by Rob White. A house is not a home, man. It's something about Luther's lyrics, that just it speaks to you. Call me an old soul, even though I was born in 1980. That still means something to me because that was the way we used to talk to women, especially instead of just saying, "Hey, bitch," "Hey, ho." And I think there's a new word, "thot," or something like that, but there's more meaningful ways to talk to women. But right now, we got him back online, man. Mr. Marc Brisett. What's going on, sir?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. Is that much better for you?
Yeah, a little better. I'm out in Orlando right now, so it's not my phone. So,
okay, we need you to talk up just a little bit into the phone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Sounds like you're on speaker, almost.
Yeah, it's just, I apologize. It's not my phone. But it's the best I got right now.
Okay. Well, no worries. We're gonna get into it's all about you, my friend. For the next 25 minutes, it's all about Mr. Marc Brisett. What's going on, my brother? You're one of the very few. You're in the 1% club. You know that, right?
The 1%?
Oh yeah, the 1% club.
What does that mean?
Meaning that don't you know that it's only 1% black authors only make 1% of the whole book population?
Wow, and that's sad too.
Right.
That's sad.
I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, if you ask any young urban kid right now,
right,
what they want to be when they grow up, you're gonna get two answers. One is gonna be rapper, and the other one is athlete. Now, there's nothing wrong with either one of those two, but the chances of doing that are slim to none, really, of being successful at those two things. But that's what they see all the time.
Right.
They don't see the black authors. They don't see the doctors. They don't see the lawyers. They don't see the black businessmen. They don't see that. So they only aspire to do things that they see.
Right.
So if they was to see that more, and that's part of my whole thing, really, and why I write, for my son especially. I want him to see if there's a whole world of things that you could do. I mean, right before Dre and his Beats thing, Forbes had Diddy at $550 million. That's what he's worth. But J.K. Rowling is worth $1 billion.
It's crazy,
J.K.
right?
Rowling's worth the Harry Potter, and kids don't think about that.
And you're definitely right about that. But you have to understand, even with that, when it comes to that, it's like, we live in a need and want society. A lot of people are more focused on the wants than they are the needs.
You're right.
And when it comes to that alone, we fail as, it's even worse in the black community. Because we have such a need to impress impress others that we take away from our own.
Well, that goes back to us being lied to. And when I say lied to, I mean us really as a nation being lied to.
Right.
Being lied to as to what you really are, or what you're really worth. A lot of people don't think they're worth a lot. A lot of people don't think that they can do things because they've been told that they can't. So when you're young, when you're a baby watching TV, I hate to get racial, but you see white faces on TV all day. That's what you see.
Right.
The superheroes are all white. The stars in the movie are all white. The guy that gets the girl is all white. And the black dude in the movie, he dies first.
Or close to last.
Right. I mean, so what do you think about yourself? You don't think you're worth much. So if you're not worth much, you don't think you can achieve much.
Right.
So if I can't achieve much, why am I going to try?
Right. And it goes back to, did you ever see that one video that they did on the I think it was a test thing where it was like, they put the black kids in front
the babies,
all of the dolls.
Right.
That was incredible. That was incredible. I didn't get it, and then I got it, and I was like, that's sad. That's just sad. The black doll is the worst one. It's evil.
it's sad, but it's on purpose. Like, if he goes back to, like, the biggest lie told to man is the image of Jesus Christ.
Oh man, so I don't. I know you finna go there. I know you know the story of Ham, right? You know who Ham is.
Well, I was going back to Leonardo da Vinci, and what he drew was a guy named Caesar Borgia.
Right.
Caesar Borgia's father became Pope Alexander VI. He hired Leonardo to paint his son as Jesus and put him up in the Vatican. So the images that we see, the images that you look at, is just some guy. And we look at that as if even Jesus is white, then, you know, they must be better than me. So from jump, you're thinking that you're not good. And there's a really crazy story about the Last Supper that Leonardo painted. They used to paint, well, they painted live people. They painted
right.
people. They painted live people. So when they found out that he was going to paint the Last Supper, people came from all over. There was hundreds of guys outside when he painted. He wanted to pick somebody that he thought, you know, looked like what Jesus would look like, had the attributes of Jesus. So he picked this one guy. He was 19 years old. He took about 11 months to paint him, and then painted the other 11 disciples. Took him about 6 years. Now, he had the big search for Judas, because, you know, you got to find the right guy to be Judas. You got to look rough and dark. You know, you got to find the right guy. So
right.
They told him about some guy that was in a dungeon. So he went to go see him. And they brought him out. Like, oh, he's perfect. I'll paint him. Then he looks at him like, you don't recognize me, Leonardo? And he was like, I've never seen you before. He's like, look at me close. But I've never seen you before today. He said, you painted me 6 years ago as Jesus. So in the Last Supper, Jesus and Judas is the same person. So it just goes to show the images that we think about is just came from something. Those are not the real images.
Right.
But we hold on to that.
Right. That's crazy. I mean, it's crazy how, you know, I would just almost think you'd have to be blind to sit there and think that, you know, everybody in that area of the world, you know, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, you know, out of everybody, all the heroes were all white. It would just be crazy to think that, you know, even if you go back to, like I said, if you just think about it, I mean, but see, the thing is, if you read the Bible, they'll tell you, like, King Solomon, he was black. It'll tell you that Moses was black, or of that, or Arab, or I would say Egyptian descent. Well, actually, he would have been Arabic descent, because he wasn't from that part of the land, so he would have been a different descent, like, you know, like a Jesus background descent.
Right.
He, you know, when you look at, like, they said, I think there's a quote in the Bible that states that Moses' wife, or not Moses' wife, somebody's wife was black. She was Ethiopian, and it said it straight up in the Bible. And because the brothers and sisters of that particular person, they didn't like it. God had smited them and made them white or something like that for so many.
Jesus was a Hebrew. Moses was a Hebrew. Mary was a Hebrew. They're dark people.
Right.
People in that region of the world are dark, and Caucasians were not even in that region of the world at that time. But it goes back to, you know, if you're in control of things and you want to stay in control, you have to control the people that you want to oppress mentally.
Right.
So you have to put things in their head. You have to make them think that they're not as good as you, even though they might be as good or sometimes even better. But if you have them believing that they're not, they won't even try to achieve anything. And that'll keep you in your position. You gotta look at it like a seesaw. A seesaw over like a pool of lava, so to speak. On one side is the haves, the other side is the have-nots. Now, it's balanced over that lake of lava. Now, if the people or the have-nots want to cross over onto the other side, it's going to be lopsided, and we're all going to fall in. So I can't have that. So I got to keep you on that side, and I got to do things to make you want to stay over there.
Right.
If you like, a lot of times people do it to themselves. They don't even understand that they're doing it to themselves.
Right.
Like you hear people saying, "Talking proper is white." It's not cool if you're smart when you're in school. There are some kids that are bright, really, really bright, but they act stupid.
Right.
Because they don't want to be called a nerd.
Right.
Now, the nerds were up to be Bill Gates.
Right.
And that cool dude in school, I don't know what he's doing now, but, he might be pumping gas somewhere.
Right. Now,
and
I want
do that to themselves.
Now, I want to get your opinion upon the whole Donald Sterling issue. I want your opinion on that.
I had a heated debate on Facebook.
I knew it was coming. It's okay. I'm here. I'm gonna give you I want to hear your opinion. I definitely give you mine, and then we'll try to compare notes somewhere in there.
Donald Sterling. What Donald Sterling said was not offensive.
Thank you. Look, you get it from me. Thank you. You're finally one of the only people that got enough common sense to know that what he said was not offensive.
It wasn't offensive. Now, his viewpoints are from a plantation owner. That's what his viewpoints are. But he was home, in his own home, talking to his girlfriend. Now, you got to stop and think, and no one's talking about this. She recorded him, right?
Right.
Why did she record him? Well, obviously, he had said some of these kind of things before, or always says these things, and she had an ulterior motive to record him. So he was going to say something racist again, so she's recording him. Now, he also said, or talking about, he gets calls from people. Who are these people? If he spoke like that to her all the time, he speaks like that all the time to other owners.
Right.
Now, if he talks like that, in their circle, there's some other people that talk like that. So if he's a racist, and a known racist from what I understand, some other owners might be also. And what they're scared of, if you can take his team from him, from saying things like that in his own home, I might be next.
Right.
And that's my take on Donald Sterling. I mean, I don't think his team should have been taken from him. Is he a racist? Yeah. I don't think he don't think he's a racist.
Right.
That's just the way he was brought up.
Now, see, I definitely agree with you on most parts, but see, here's the ironic twist, is that people have to realize that freedom of speech is dead. That Constitution was written at a time where the country was different at that time. I get tired of hearing politicians saying, we're going to follow the Constitution, and that Constitution was built at a different time. So let's get that out. Let's get that out of our minds. Second, no, he was talking about one person only. He was talking about Magic Johnson. He was not talking about black people. He was talking about Magic. He just didn't want to call him by his name, because that's exactly who he was talking about, because that's who she took the picture with. And then she was just in shock, like, what? Like, so realistically, his problem was with Magic, because guess what? He brought Magic's name up again when he did that interview. Well,
he did say Magic's name, but he did also mention others. Why do you have to take pictures of them? Yeah,
and that's his, that's his, I always say it like this: racism is a public thing, not a private thing. When do we have the opportunity to feel private again? Meaning, like, okay, for instance, is it not my right to talk about whoever I want to in my house? You know, I could talk about whoever I want. I could be a bigot. I could be whatever. But the moment I show up outside these doors, I have to play society's role.
And that's the scary part in this whole Donald Sterling thing. Because everyone might say a little, whatever at home.
Right. We're all bigots.
And if you can't say it at home, where can I say it? Like, I'm in my own house. Those are my viewpoints. Now, if he has said that in public or in an interview, then yeah, he got to go.
Yeah, he got to go.
He got to go.
But it's wrong. Like, people don't get the big picture here. And that's the part that I have a problem with. People don't get the big picture. It's like, in a white person's eyes, at least the ones that have been trained that way, since birth, we will always be inferior and accept your role. I accept it. That's fine. You can assume that. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. I know what I am. I know what I'm capable of. And I know what I can do. And I know that I am my biggest enemy. But it is up to me. But like I said, the biggest point of this that the whole Donald Sterling is the fact that someone, not only did they ban him, they made him pay, and they made him sell. I mean, wow, because you said something that I don't feel was racist. And then you got all these old folk, the Al Sharptons of the world and and the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, trying to ostracize this guy because his personal opinion, in his home, not saying it to nobody in public, that had nothing to do with the NBA. That had nothing to do with the NBA, but he's in his house, and all of a sudden you want to ostracize this guy.
See, the thing that I really don't like about what the NBA did with him is the end result. They knew about him being racist for a very long time. So if the NBA wanted to stand their ground and really show that they care about the fans and people that come to the games, they would have done something about him earlier if they truly wanted to do something. Because if he's part of your league and he's doing things that I heard he was doing with the tenants, and his wife was going in disguise as someone else trying to find out the color of the people that live on their properties, the NBA should have stepped in so that you can't do. You're making the league look bad. But it wasn't making the league look bad because it wasn't public. Like, the world didn't know about that. This made the league look bad.
Right.
That's the only reason why they did what they did.
But who I don't feel bad for, and I hope that woman never gets another job a day in her life, is the girl who did that to him. Because we all have a right to privacy to some extent, and what she did to me is it's unforgivable. Because it's fine that you wanted to do that, but you made yourself look worse. Because I empower and I encourage any person that's gonna deal with that woman never to do so. Because
and it's also illegal. I think you have to have his permission to tape record him. So
right,
to record him was illegal what she did. So she might have some charges coming her way later on anyway.
Right, because here's how I feel. If I'm a multi-billionaire, like he got his type of bread, and you my side piece, and my wife know about it, whatever the case may be, if I tell you not to do something, you better not do it. And if you want to continue to live that lifestyle, you should do that. But now she just made it worse for herself, man. And what happens to her, I have no regrets. It's like, that's all on her. But anyways, man, let's get on this topic of you, man. Tell the people a little bit about you. I mean, I know you're an author, but I know you're from New York, and all that good stuff. But tell us a little bit about what's going on with you, and let's talk about your book, The Invisible Man, and a few other things.
All right. Well, I'm an author. My second book is about to come out this summer, entitled Lottery Pick. It's a book inspired by a true story. It's about a boy that was homeless by age 10. He gets adopted, and then he grows up to play in the NBA, but he died homeless. So the book is really about the journey of his life, and I deal with homelessness a lot in the book. I really take you on a trip of what it's like to live in a park, and and have nowhere to sleep, and I take you there. And doing the book, or to release the book, I want to do some things for homeless charities. So I wanted to make a little trailer, and I was gonna put it on YouTube or whatever to advertise and do some things. And I was doing some events in Orlando, but that trailer turned into a documentary. So I filmed a documentary called "Don't Cry for Me," and I'm gonna be in my first film festival in August, in Orlando, and I'm waiting to hear back on another 8 film festivals. Keep my fingers crossed I get in those too.
Right. Well, hey man, if you do that, let us know so we can bring you back on and we can definitely talk about that documentary.
Yeah, definitely. Don't Cry for Me is big, man. It's 31 minutes, and I got a campaign now on Indiegogo to try and raise money because I want to try and extend that to 80 minutes because I was approached by a distributor that is talking theatrical distribution, but they needed to be 80 minutes. So that's what I'm trying to do now, extend that.
Okay. Well, also too, man. So what inspires you to write and what's your inspiration on writing? Like, what inspires you?
Me, I have what all people had when they were little. When kids are little, they can make up all kinds of games and just play for hours by themselves.
Right.
I watched my son play with a balloon when he was little for like hours, a balloon. Like, I still have that. I still think a lot, and I think about stories all the time. And I always did that. I just didn't know those stories could be books or scripts or anything like that. I had no clue. But when I started doing it, I keep thinking, I keep, imagining things and coming up with stories and different characters and, all the time. So my inspiration is just, my childhood-like imagination.
So I heard like a little thing that I read on you. I guess at one point you thought you was the fastest man or the fastest kid in the country when you was in high school.
What's that all about? High school, yeah. I was in high school. I was considered one of the fastest kids in the country. I was the fastest freshman in the state, and so being the fastest kid in the state, you're one of the fastest in the country. I wanted to run track and Olympics and all that stuff, but actually the coach I had made me quit. Coaches can make you or break you.
Right.
Some coaches are great and they inspire you. This coach is also my English teacher, and he tried to get me to run outdoor track after indoor track, and I didn't want to. And he said, if you don't run track, I'm going to fail you in English.
Wow.
So he just turned me. I went out for it, but I faked the injury so I wouldn't have to run.
Right.
But after that, he just turned me off of that. I stopped running and started playing basketball.
So let's talk about your youth basketball league MVP. What's going on with that?
Yeah, it's a youth league. I started in Queens. Really, I started that for my son. My son was playing this not little league, but a league that's been established for 15 years or whatever. But I didn't like how it was going, and I was coaching them. And I wanted to quit, but one of the parents said, you can't quit, because if you quit, then you're showing the kids, how to quit. And I was like, well, all right, you're right. And then one parent said, why don't you start your own league? I was like, wow, it's a good idea. So I started MVP. I wanted 2 age divisions, but I didn't get, all the kids that I wanted, so I only had 1 age division. And then after that, I started a travel team called the Ballers, a little AAU team. We travel around and play in the schools from 13 to 17.
So I was now not to cut you off on that, but I was reading your synopsis on your book, Lottery Pick, and and it was talking about like, it was about a kid and he was homeless by the age of 10, and it's pretty much he became a professional basketball player, made millions, and then ultimate goal was just the fact that he understood that life, it was more than what it was. How it showed how life can be cruel. And my thing was on that was, I would have thought it might have been the opposite, just because he understood that life could be cruel first, and then he was more humbled by making it actually to greatness. So could you fill us in a little bit more on that?
Well, when you see stories like that, usually the end of the story is when the person goes pro.
Right.
Life is good. But money is not the only thing that makes you happy. People think when you get successful, when you get a lot of money, your problems are over. But they got issues too.
Right.
Your mom could be dying of cancer. All your money can't fix that. In this particular story, I don't want to give it away, but there was a friend of his that died, and he thought it wasn't fair for that kid to be gone and he still be here and have all this money, because he wouldn't be around if it wasn't for that kid. So when that kid died, that really tore him up.
Right.
And he thought it wasn't fair for him to have all that money, so he kind of got self-destructive after that. So he was really trying to lose his money because he didn't feel, it was fair for him to have it.
But isn't that usually the case when, like one of my favorite movies of all time, it had to be in the Mike Tyson story. Or, when he lost his coach, when he lost his boxing coach.
Right.
It was just like his whole world ended. Same thing with Rocky. Remember Rocky, the movie Rocky? I think it was Rocky 3. Rocky 3, yeah. Rocky 3 when he went against Mr. T. Same thing. When Rocky lost, when Mickey died, it was the same concept. When he died, that was his heart. And then he had to try to find himself in order to be Clubber Lang. And, it was just like he had to reinvent himself, because you had this one person in your life, and just push you to greatness. And then when he lost, he had nothing left.
Right. See, a lot of times people don't understand that success is not always the glitz and the glamour and the money. If you're able to make a living, this is my opinion, if you're able to make a living from doing what you love doing, you're successful. So because I make $1 million boxing, I don't really want to box. I just can box. I want to raise pigeons. Raising pigeons makes me happy. So you might say, why are you quitting? Like Barry Sanders quit. Top of his career, he quit. People are like, why did Barry Sanders quit? He might have been happy doing something else.
Right.
Michael Jordan quit after three championships. He quit.
Well, remember his dad died. That's why he quit. So he hadn't.
His father died. I don't feel it anymore. I want to go play baseball because my father always wanted me to go play. I always want to play baseball. That's what my father wanted me to do. So I'm quitting basketball and I'm going to go play baseball. The world is going, you're crazy. Why are you playing baseball? Well, that's what he wants to do.
Right.
That's what's going to make him happy.
Right. And,
so,
a lot of you forgot, but you forgot one of the most important ones. You know that, right?
Say it again? You
forgot one of the most important athletes that quit, too.
Let me think. Quit.
Just completely quit. L.A. handed out Lakers.
The Lakers?
Yeah.
Who?
Come on, man. You're a sports guy. Wilt Chamberlain. Remember, Wilt quit. Greatest big man ever to play. Quit. Most dominant. Quit.
Well, I guess another big one would be Jim Brown, too. Jim Brown tried early.
Retired early. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, now I want your personal opinion. And I was having a discussion about somebody the other day, and we were talking about Magic Johnson because obviously Magic Johnson's in the forefront. And I said like this. They said, "Do you think Magic Johnson has HIV?" I said no. I said I think he got paid millions and millions of dollars and some inside stuff to be the face of that, because his wife didn't leave him or nothing, knowing that you could catch the sickness. Cookie stayed with Magic, and I'm trying to figure out what woman would do that in they blind mind. Your husband had cheated on you while they caught something and came back, unless you have it.
Well, there's a couple theories behind that. One is that there's really a cure for AIDS. Oh,
of course there is. Come on, man.
And if you got money, you could pay for the cure. And obviously, Magic got the money, so that's why he don't have AIDS and he can deal with the HIV the way he has, and others can't. I don't know how much I believe that, but it's plausible, because if you look at the health industry, if everybody was healthy, then there'll be no need for medicine and insurance, and you got to keep people dependent.
Of course.
Supply and demand. So you can't have everybody be healthy.
Right.
So
Only the rich.
That's plausible.
Why do you think that you see like people who have babies and we're talking about celebrities? They have babies and all of a sudden they back down in a sexy body again. There's weight. Put it like this: there's a cure for everything you can think of. There's anything you think of. There's a medicine, or there's a specific food, whether it's man-made or not. It's a cure for everything.
Right. I mean, if you look at people that are sick, and then you listen to the medicine they got, and then your friend got sick for something else, and the medicine he got, you hear the same things. Like, why are you taking that? I had a car accident in 2010, and I hurt my back. They gave me Lyrica because I had nerve damage. And I was watching, the commercials. You see my son was watching the commercials, and he makes fun of the small talk at the end, or all the symptoms that that you could get, like worse than what you have taken the medicine for. But Lyrica is for like depression and why was I taking Lyrica for my back?
Right. It's because of what they want you to believe.
I mean, it's just crazy, but they gotta do what they gotta do.
You're right.
Try and make money. People just have to, need to be aware of what's going on. But there are a lot of traps, and like that lady that wrote, what's that movie? Keanu Reeves. I'm having a brain thought right now. The Matrix.
Okay.
Brilliant movie. I mean,
when you look past certain things, it's a really good movie.
Brilliant movie, man. Just the way she captured everything is just.
Yeah, at the time it was innovative, definitely.
Yeah, very, and it's just like Planet of the Apes, because Planet of the Apes is really about race relations, and most
exactly.
people don't understand.
Oh my God, like that you hit the nail on the coffin, because that is very, very much so true.
Yeah, I mean when I first saw it, that's what I thought. I just instantly, as a kid, I instantly thought that. But when I, researched and studied, that's exactly what it's about. It's based on a book, the movie from '68, written by Rod Sterling and Michael Wilson. Actually, they brought Rod Sterling in, and then they liked what he wrote, and then they brought in Michael Wilson to jazz it up a little bit, and he brought that element to it, because at that time he was blacklisted in Hollywood for being a communist.
Right.
So he's the one that brought that element to the script, and it's based on a book, a book by a French author, Pierre Boulle, from '63.
Okay.
But if you look at it, the apes obviously are the white people in the movie, and obviously the white people are the black people. They had this place called the Forbidden Zone, and in the Forbidden Zone, they found remnants of an old society. They found subways and glasses and doors and posters that let them know that there was a society there before them that was greater than their society. The elders knew that. They didn't want the other apes to know. They didn't want the humans to know. So when they captured a human, they would do experiments on their brain. They would cut their tongues out, so they would remain dumb. And if you look at the real world, after slavery, there were laws in place, black codes and slave codes that had restrictions on black life. You couldn't assemble, you couldn't talk back, and the big one is you couldn't become literate. Those were laws,
right,
to keep you dumb so they could stay in power. And that's what the movie's about, which is brilliant.
Right. You know what's funny about that is we know people know the truth, and the government still doesn't acknowledge it. It's funny. It's funny how things work, and you get a black president and he still doesn't address it. And we understand the whole, mad black syndrome and all the other good stuff. But the point is, you are at the highest power, and you have done something that no one else can do, and you have not addressed certain issues that pertain to black people in general.
Because you gotta keep status quo.
Well, we talking about I'm talking about. I hope he does something towards the end of his tenure, that last year, to where it's like, well, we can't vote him out because he's done anyways. I would like to see something done, something to help black equality. But man, it has been a pleasure having you on. Now, do you have any shout outs or anything like that you want to give a shout out to?
Shout out to my son. He's not listening, but let me shout him out anyway. My son Marcel. Be on the lookout for lottery pick this summer. And if I can get some help with the Indiegogo campaign to try and get this documentary into theaters, because it's going to help a lot of homeless people. That's the forgotten issue.
Right.
People don't talk about the homeless that much. It's not popular anymore. There's other issues going on, but that's a real situation to have to deal with.
Right.
Not to have a home, something simple as a home. And we should do away with that. We're supposed to be the richest country. Well, we're not. We're number 7, but people always say we're the richest country in the world. And if we are, why do we have so many people sleeping on our streets, man? It's just crazy.
Right. Well, hey, we change it one day at a time, not, and like I said, it goes back up to the status quo. But what I'm going to do, man, I'm going to reach back out to you again when our next show that I'm putting together is called the Men's Roundtable. And definitely I would love to bring you back on for that show, man. And you know what it is? It's a group of men, kind of like The View, but from a male's perspective. And, we talk about everything that's on the news, topics, discussions, everything from the regular man's point of view. And try to teach not only young people, but everybody else on, what's going on.
Well, I'll be, happy and honored to be part of that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, my friend, and giving your opinion.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, y'all. Swag City Radio Station where artists go global, live with author Marc Brisett. All right, y'all. We're going to get back into this little mix real quick. Let's go.